Well, hello there. It's another day. I'm Jim Harrington.
And I am Bill Knight. Happy Tuesday. Hope everything's going well for you today, sir.
It's hunky-dory, as they would say, except, I'm still fighting in the wintertime, and this has been the story of my life, from my career. You have to fight winter sinus issues, And,
right now, if it's not COVID, I guess there's another variant of it out there, but the flu, which is pretty bad, is all over the place.
And they say that because people are very cautious about vaccines now, like 60% of the people are not getting their flu shot.
Well, do you trust vaccines?
After COVID, no. And that's the problem with everybody. When I go to the doctor's office, he'll say, "Do you want your flu shot?" And I'll say, "Well, I got to think about it." He says, "Yeah, everybody's that way."
Okay, this is going to be an interesting year, and I'll tell you why. Because you've got everything that we've been hit with, we've realized was BS. So you've got people now that are getting, they're going, "No, I'm not taking the vaccine because I can't trust it." So we are, demedicine cabinet. We're backing away from that and going back to more homegrown, holistic.
Do you still
ways.
use? I use hand sanitizer still. Excuse me.
Oh, I use hand sanitizer. I put a towel over my head and do the
you
hot
really?
steam thing. Yes,
I put a
do
bag
that.
over my head. Really?
Well, I do that when I get dressed up and go out in public. But
Do you
I cut
really?
some holes. So
I do it when I shave.
They don't like that when you walk into a bank with the bag on, though.
That's true. Do you know what's funny
really
though? It's serious. Because of COVID, right? It was one of the few times in our history where they wanted you to wear a mask when you went into the bank. Think about it for a second.
Well, they were wearing masks too, so, am I holding you up or are you holding me up? Who is the real robber here? But, the funny thing about the mask is that, and they go back to the early 1900s. Well, they wore them back then. But we know that they don't work. And we also know that, the pharmaceutical companies loved it because even though every pharmaceutical drug is based off of a natural remedy, God didn't make this planet and not put ways to fix everything on it. And there's a plant or something somewhere, a home remedy that works, but they can't make money on that. They don't own a patent to it. But boy, you know what? They have a, they created Ozempic. Well, yeah, we invented this. But there's probably, if you go and do the research with it, you'll probably find the exact elements that you need to do the same thing that shuts off that hunger gene.
When I was a kid, I went to Plymouth Plantations in Plymouth, Mass., and it is a replica of the settlement that the Pilgrims stayed
I know
in.
where that is, yeah.
And they had a pharmacy.
Yeah.
And you say, what? But it was all like herbs, eucalyptus plants and stuff like that. And many of the plants that they were using for their remedies were stuff that you buy like in cough drops today and stuff like that.
It all works. But see, you cannot patent Mother Nature. You can patent two chemicals that you put together. Now, the chemical may mimic Mother Nature, but there are side effects to it. Well, yeah, you know what? Your sinuses are going to be clear. You're going to feel great.
You're going to grow
your
a third eye.
And fall out of your head.
Yeah,
but,
right.
Other than that, you're going to. So people are detoxing. The other thing that they're doing this year, there are a lot of people. There's a famous pop singer that said, "This is the year to get off your phone and dumb down and get the old flip phones because you could shut them off. They didn't listen and they weren't traceable." And because even Grok will tell you that your smart TV, it's a smart TV, so it listens to you. How do you think you can have a conversation, and right after that conversation, up pops an ad about what you were talking about? Well, I'm really thinking about, going to Babbel and learning Spanish because they're not going to learn English.
Do you know what else has happened?
And it shows up the ad.
You're seeing that we're griping about stuff. Have you, I don't know whether this has happened to you, but the cost of my cable and my internet has creeped up over the last like 2 or 3 years
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden I'm paying as much, if not more, for my cable TV and my internet than I paid for the mortgage for my first house.
Yeah, well, I nicknamed it Our Lady of Perpetual Payments.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get you on a payment
Yeah.
plan. I was looking for some software for a new computer. I said, well, I got to have a digital editing station for audio. Oh, yeah, you can get this here. It's only $19 a month. Otherwise, it shuts off. It used to be I could go to Best Buy and buy a nice piece of software for about 50, 60 bucks. And I had a lifetime license. Now you can download those, but now, even if you buy it and it downloads on your computer, like Windows, you got Windows 10, you can't upgrade. You can go to now 11 will upgrade to 12, but they want to shut you out because they want the payments from you. Our Lady of Perpetual Payments. Everybody wants money from you.
Oh,
and
sure.
They want to, instead of doing something new for you, they just want to hook you in on
one of the
payment.
greatest software programs for editing audio was out like 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Cool Edit Pro.
That's exactly right. And a bigger company bought it. And after a short period of time, they put it on a cloud. And instead of being able to go and buy that software and own it on your computer, you had to pay a monthly fee. I think it's still that way. It's still a great piece of software, except you have to pay every month for it. And the fees go up after a few years, No, I agree. We live in a time of perpetual payments, and you know what happened yesterday, by the way? I was going to tell you about this. I might as well tell everybody about this because we have no secrets here. We're all friends.
All right.
I had a payment I wanted to make online to a healthcare supplier. Some supplies I have that I get every month, and so I get an invoice, and they said the bill total was $133, right?
All right. So yeah.
So I get an invoice saying you paid $100. Thank you very much. I hadn't paid $100. I don't know how they got that $100. I mean, they had my credit card
because
I paid stuff before. But what they did is they put me on a payment plan that I didn't want to be on. So I called their customer service, and I get some guy like in New Delhi or Pakistan. Hello, nice to see you. Yes, of course. And now, mind you, I said, I'm calling because I don't want to have a balance. I pay my stuff off. And what I'd like to do is I don't want to pay $100 and have a $33 balance. I want to pay the whole thing off. Well, I said, how much do I owe? He says, well, I'm looking at you owe $133. I said, wait a second. You just took $100 out of my credit card. I got the receipt in front of me. I see what you have. I only have a balance at $33. No, you have a balance of $133. I said, wait a second. You sent me the receipt. Right now I'm getting angry. I said, you sent me the receipt. Are you getting difficult with me, sir? This is what he said to me, the customer. I said, excuse me? He says, it's $133. I said, wait a second. Are you telling me that I'm a liar, that I'm telling you I got the receipt and the receipt number in front of me? I just told you that I paid $100 and I have a $33 balance. The guy starts to get really testy. I said, I want to speak to your supervisor. I don't have a supervisor.
No, well, you know what?
Wait a second. It's not done. I said, do you work for X company? I didn't want to, do you work for X company? He says, yes. I said, wait a second. What's your name? I don't have to tell you. I said, you don't have to tell me your name, and you don't have a supervisor. I said, we're done. And I hung up, and I called the local office and in the town that I live in, not too far away. And she was so apologetic, so polite. She said, I'm so sorry. That never should happen. I said, the thing is, someone at your company decided that for a few extra dollars more, they would offshore your customer service to a bunch of strangers who don't care about your company, because they would never talk to a customer. I wasn't calling to ask for a quote on a price on something. I was calling to pay you something. The guy should have been bending over backwards to take my money. Instead, all he wanted to do was fight with me. And I thought, you got to be kidding. This is the kind of thing that a lot of people run into all the time. And folks, after I was done with that, and I got angry. I mean, I have an Irish temper, and I got angry. I'm being more polite on the air than I was. I was a little difficult. I wanted to climb through the phone. But when all was said and done, I thought, people, these are the unnecessary battles that we face sometimes in life that we shouldn't have to deal with.
Well,
go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, look at America this way. It's a honeypot of money to foreign nations. Now, the big oligarchs that own I had a problem like that with McAfee. I'm going, I kept getting these emails and the posted ad, you cannot turn it off.
Oh, I know.
And so I went to close the email, but anytime you touch anything or the pop up there, even to hit the X to close it, it goes in and steals your account numbers. And then all of a sudden, I got billed for $120 a month for McAfee. And they go, there's a recurring payment, and for Norton and another antivirus. So I went to my bank and I said, this stops here. So they did stop it and give me the money back. I ended up changing the account number. But the pop-ups are still there. And then I realized what's going on. These are reputable companies that I'll never do business with ever again.
Oh, I've seen that. I've had problems with that company too.
Yeah, but what they're doing is, we always talk about these foreign countries where people are over there always trying to hack into our accounts and steal.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we can't extradite them. They're out of our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do. And you tell me for a minute that McAfee and Norton and all these other companies, the big oligarchs said, well, we're making all the money we can from the American people direct. Let's outsource it and give these people a piece of the pie. They come back in and they can't sue us. Well, no, we can't sue. No, you're right. We can't. And if we charter a plane or go over there and do something physically, we're going to prison. But what we can do is make note of those companies and say, we won't take this anymore. And you can take your company and stick it where the sun don't shine.
You know what else you got to watch out for? And it happened to me yesterday. I'm usually pretty good at this. I did a search for the company, that healthcare company that I was mentioning, the one that I bought some equipment from, some supplies from. And I got a search response, and the top search looked like it was their website. The search came back and it looked like, so I clicked on it, and I'm starting to fill in the information because I wanted to have an account. And I look at the address and I said, who the hell are these people? Mm-hmm. It was a company that was literally in the search engine pretending to be the company that I was searching for, but it wasn't that company. It was another company. There are so many thieves out there, folks.
The one thing that I can tell you, look, I get a global economy, and I don't, you can't be 100% isolationist, but I'm looking at all the jobs that have been outsourced, given to illegal aliens or shipped overseas. And I'm sitting there going, and, I drive through towns. What this town used to do, it used to be a paper mill, but now the paper comes from Pakistan, and I'm sitting there going, okay. This company, they used to make the labels for Pfizer, but they don't do that anymore because the printing company is over in Indonesia. Well, what did this town do? Oh, they manufactured clothing, but now that goes to another country. And I'm sitting there going, we have American people that live in small town USA. And these towns used to be proud little towns. They had some source of revenue or income that's been taken away and given to a foreign country. Let's bring it back.
That's what Trump's trying to do.
We bring it all back, and we reinvent small town USA, big town USA. We manufacture here. And you know what? Unions you and owners, you got to realize that you got to meet together. There's got to be a fair wage, but there's also got to be some, there's got to be give and take in both ways so that everybody here gets a fair shake. And it can be done, but no, you have politicians now because they got to get in the soiree too. Because, well, look at what's the guy from Kentucky, Rand Paul. He's in trouble now over Maduro.
Oh yeah, he's on the list
because he was getting money to Trump block anything there. Oh, no, we don't want to go after the oil in Venezuela. It's not about the oil, friend. It's about a lot of things.
Yeah,
and and I'm sitting there going, if he was
mm-hmm.
and he was doing something and getting paid to go against America, that's treason. You lose any pension you got. You lose it all. We fine you, and to me, that's treasonous. It's a crime against this country.
Well,
in my opinion, but he's got to be,
The bill. The list is so long. I mentioned this yesterday, but I mean, I'm going to read you. These are the people in Congress who are on the Venezuelan list, meaning they're people who have been getting hundreds of thousands of dollars from Venezuela for influence. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Mark Kelly of Arizona, Ruben Gallego of Arizona, Alex Padilla of California, Adam Schiff of California, Michael Bennett, and of course the screen just changed on me as I was doing that. Can you believe that? Happens all the time, folks. Happens all the time. Let me try that again. I mean, not from the top, because I'll be here all day. Let's see. Michael Bennett of Colorado, John Hickenlooper of Colorado, Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, Chris Murphy of Connecticut, Chris Coons of Delaware, John Ossoff of Georgia, Raphael Warnock of Georgia, Brian Schatz of Hawaii, Macy Hirano of Hawaii, Dick Durbin of Illinois. I mean, this runs the gamut and has no party lines. Tammy Duckworth of Illinois, Chuck Grassley of Iowa, a Republican, Joni Ernst of Iowa, Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, Rand Paul of Kentucky, Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, Susan Collins of Maine, Angus King of Maine, Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, Angela Alsobrook of Maryland, Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, Ed Markey of Massachusetts, Gary Peters of Michigan, Elisa Slotkin of Michigan. Some of these people were on that video that was telling the military people, you don't have to take the orders of if you think they're bad. Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota, Tina Smith of Minnesota, Roger Wicker of Mississippi, Deb Fisher of Nebraska, Jackie Rosen of Nevada, Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, Jean Shaheen of New Hampshire, Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire, Cory Booker of New Jersey, Adam Kim of New Jersey, Martin Heinrich of New Mexico, Ben Ray Lupin of New Mexico, Chuck Chuckles Schumer of New York, Kirsten Hill, I'll get this right, Kirsten Gillibrand of New York, Tom Tillis of North Carolina, James Lankford of Oklahoma, Ron Wyden of Oregon, Jeff Merkley of Oregon, Dave McCormick of Pennsylvania. This is his first term, boy. He didn't waste any time in Pennsylvania. Jack Reed of Rhode Island, Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island, John Thune of South Dakota. John Thune, Senate Leader John Thune. Yep, I got it. John Cornyn of Texas, Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Bernie Sanders, the socialist, but he's not adverse to taking money, boy. If it's free, he's standing in line. Peter Welch of Vermont, Mark Warner of Virginia, Tim Kaine of Virginia, Patty Murray of Washington, Maria Cantwell of Washington, Jim Justice of West Virginia. He was the former governor. That's a surprise. And Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin. That's a long list of people and from both sides of the aisle.
Yeah, and that's probably just the tip of the iceberg. Number one, they're on the list They ought to put that on their website. It ought to be out there. These these people are sponsored by,
Right.
so that we know that they're on the tape.
Like they do
That's number one.
with race cars. They should have
Yeah.
they have to have the logo on the side of the car.
Or either that or wear a suit with all their sponsors'
Yes,
names.
I like
That's
that, Bill.
number one. And number two, those guys get paid by their sponsors and not by the patrons there. So we're the patrons of this country. So, in other words, you don't get a congressional salary or
Right.
benefits or retirement. You don't get a senatorial salary or benefits or retirement because you have sponsors. And we need to know who is sponsoring you so that we can sit there and say, you know what? That's great. You're full of it. Goodbye.
Then there are guys like Tim Burchett of Tennessee. Tim Burchett, he prides himself in the fact he takes no PAC money, none. He takes no graft. He goes there and does his job. You know, he lives in his office. He brags about it. He says, "Hey, look at, I don't make enough.
Show.
I don't have enough money to live in an apartment or a house, other than the house that I have in Tennessee. So I live in my office. I shower down the hallway in the congressional showers. They have a congressional shower room. I live very comfortably in my office. Everything's fine, but I don't take graft or money from outside interests." And then you have guys, these people here, taking money from Maduro. It's like, can you imagine in World War II taking money from Hitler? I mean, that's essentially, Maduro is killing American people. I told you, 80,000 people died in 2024. And last year, 50,000 people died of fentanyl overdoses. That stuff is being made in Venezuela.
You know, Trump's numbers are up, and it's probably because of Venezuela and Maduro. That's what happened this week. Now, let me explain something to the voters that are, called MAGA, Republican, even patriotic Democrats that have voted conservative because you're patriots. All right. Keep in mind that Maduro is in is the jurisdictions in New York where they do that. They're used to those big federal trials. This is going to take years, 4, maybe 8 years. So in other words, when we vote this fall, Maduro could have the slack cut for him if you get one of these clowns or all of these clowns or a majority of these clowns all under the blue coats that'll say, let him go. Let him go.
The next meeting, I guess the next hearing is set for mid-March. Mid-March. Yeah. You would think there'd be some urgency, like maybe next week. But wait a second, Bill. I was thinking about this last night.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say hypothetically, Maduro worked out a deal before he came back. Let's say he said to whoever he was dealing with, he said, "I can't leave the country. I have all these Cuban military people in the country who are protecting me, but also essentially keeping me hostage. I cannot leave my country. I can't come to you even if I wanted to." And let's say the U.S. said, "Okay, here's the deal. We'll get you out of there alive. We'll take care of getting you out. You come when we're there." And let's say, and I'm just being hypothetical here, but I think there's some reason to think that maybe there's some truth to this. What if when he gets back here, he spills the beans on the corrupt people back here who have been doing backdoor deals with various interests in Venezuela?
Where is he right now?
Right now, he's in a federal prison in Brooklyn.
Right.
With P. Diddy.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm wondering here because there's a lot of cards on the table. We also know that a lot of illegals came across the border.
Right.
As Chucky Schumer said, 11 million, probably a lot more. Okay.
Yes.
We also know that people said, it looked like there was a lot of military type. We also know Venezuela, which has been very dirty, has that type of people. So let's just say there is a battalion or two all of a sudden in the United States, or 7 or 8. enough to cause a lot of internal harm. And let's just say that, yeah, we got Maduro, we've got him under lock and key, but he's in a place where some stupid, snivelly liberal judge could let him go free. And now the leader of an invading nation is right here to engage his troops.
Well, I don't
It's a
think.
weird thought, I understand.
No, I think that there are. Look at Transday. What's the name of that gang? Transday Ragloa or whatever the heck it's called. You know?
I know. Yeah,
he's supposedly the leader of it.
Yeah,
and they supposedly have cells in our country,
right,
in all the big cities.
No, we got problems, and Guantanamo Bay might be Gitmo, and the theoretical courthouse that's being built there.
It's called Camp Justice, and it's there. I saw a video on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have the cells. Maybe we just need to, because it's out of U.S. jurisdiction, to where a concerned liberal can't sit there and throw a wrench in the monkey works. Maybe that's where he needs to go. Maybe that's where the trials need to be done, and justice needs to be carried out.
Well, maybe that's where he's going to end up landing ultimately. Who knows? But or maybe he'll pull a Jeffrey Epstein and commit suicide in his cell.
Well, that could be too. Yeah. And then it's going to be years, because, you mentioned the Epstein files, and they have been releasing, but there are 2 million files that haven't even been touched, 400 attorneys on it. There is no way, even if Trump said release them all today.
He did say that. Yeah.
Yeah. And damn the torpedoes, we'll filter through who's been innocently harmed afterwards. But the simple fact is that ain't going to happen. You got 400 attorneys on it. Doesn't matter what Trump says. Doesn't matter if there is 750,000 pictures that have Trump on it. He's not worried about it. So, and you know what?
I don't want to get too far into the weeds on Jeffrey Epstein, though, Bill. Well, unless you think there's a connection between.
I don't. What I'm trying, but the point is, it's going to take 8 or more years to filter.
Oh, well, that's true. They're even saying this is going to take They had a former federal what do they call it? They call it a federal attorney, a U.S. attorney.
Yeah.
The U.S. Yeah. And he said these things could take years. He said so. This could take a while. But in the meantime, he's going to sit in a cell in Brooklyn. He's not going out on parole. So it's not going to work out well for him.
And the Democrats look for things to hang, even if it hangs some of their own people. They don't care. They want to hang this on. It's a tool that they use against the Republicans, and it doesn't mean the Republicans are guilty of anything. It just means they have their hand on the lever. They control the narrative for now. They have with the news departments, and it's a tool that they're going to use going forward, and they knew this beforehand.
Well, Bill,
we want the release.
Hold that thought.
It's not going to happen.
Hold that thought, because we have to break for a commercial. I know, money.
I know.
Hey, folks.
Money.
What's that? I know. I have no idea. I've seen pictures. Like and share our program. All right, like and share the show with all your friends. It's Jim and Bill. It's another day. Also, if you want to contact us, it's mail@jimandbill.com.
Wake up on the right side with Right Side Coffee.
Available at rightsideshop.com.
Those two clowns, Jim and Bill, they actually make a lot of sense. You really should like and share the program.
Yes, those two clowns. I resemble that remark. I really do.
Well, I got the makeup in the nose, so you never, and the hair too. I dyed it orange this morning.
So this is not the end of something, meaning the capture of Maduro. I think we're about to see a number of dominoes fall. I think this is going to be a year of change and transition. It started off, Bill, 3 days into the year with Maduro? I think you're going to see other people. I don't know whether it'll be other states. I think Cuba has a little bit to worry about. I think that Mexico should be concerned, and Colombia too.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the order that Trump gave, and he goes, I don't think he's exactly said Cuba's next, but he did say we got to deal with Cuba,
Right.
and it sounded like the same speech that he gave about Venezuela about a month ago. Well, Venezuela,
Yeah.
Cuba. They're next
And
on
by the
our
way,
list.
Bill, that ship, that flotilla of boats that we have out there,
Oh, let's
all they have to do is turn them
take a sharp
around.
left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're right there at Cuba. I mean, they're not far away.
Left, full rudder, full steam ahead. Yeah, here
But I
we
do
go.
think that Scheinbaum has something to be concerned with in Mexico too, because it has been said that even though she appears to be friendly with Trump, she has also been friendly, they say, with the cartels. I mean, who runs Mexico? Is it the politicians in Mexico City, or is it the cartels?
Cartels.
Yeah.
I'm damn sure of that. The cartels.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to see, and Trump has said he's going to deal with them. So, and she has said you cannot attack our sovereign land, meaning we can't go in and invade the cartels. I don't think that's going to hold any water.
Well, wait a minute. We can't invade their sovereign land. What about our sovereign land?
Oh, that's a different story. Even when they were coming into our country and they were being shown escorted to your local neighborhood, if you had snuck into Mexico,
Yeah.
you got a 2-year prison term.
That's true. Yeah, you sneak in, you're going to get in trouble. You try to go into another country, you've got to know their laws, assimilate to their ways, and speak their language. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. So why are we doing what we do? Well, we're America. Yeah. You're a wishy-washy liberal, and and now we know you're a wishy-washy liberal that's getting a lot of backwash of cash going into your bank account.
Yeah, it gets me. Everyone that is on the left, Chuck Schumer and Chris Murphy, and they're all complaining, Ruben Gallego, they're complaining about what we did, and we went in and we're nation building, and we took away, unjustly took a head of state out of country. Mind you, the same party last year put a bounty on his head of $25 million under the Biden administration. Why did they want Maduro last year, so much so that they had a bounty on his head? But this year, oh no, different story. It was done by Trump. It was done by the right. We did what they wanted to do a year ago. But now, those same people on the left are protesting like we did something terrible. They literally are taking the side of the corrupt dictator. Is there anything that the left has done in the past few years that has been good for our nation? Would someone tell me what they have done that has bettered our life here in this country? Under Biden, he opened the doors and flooded our country with strangers. And we didn't even take their names. We don't know where they are.
Well, I'm going to sound like a racist here, but right now, the strangers in this country are anybody that's white. As a matter of fact, you should be ashamed that you were born white. Why were you born white? You should be disgusted. Mandani in New York is calling for, the seizure of private property. Describes home ownership as white supremacy and that collective thing. So
the Somalis in Minnesota are saying that they are victims of white racism.
Right.
Mind you, they've stole $9 billion of not just money, but our money. What people seem to forget, don't be mistaken and think that the money they took was just Minnesota taxes. No. This was a federal crime. They took federal funding, which means they took money from Bill Knight, from me, and from you.
But, they're trying to cover their tracks now. Beyond parody, the Craigslist ad from a daycare center in Minneapolis seeking to hire 20 child actors. What do they get? $1,500 a month?
$15 a day.
Oh, $1,500 a
Oh
day to
yeah,
be there. So when people show up, yeah, we're taking care of little
little Tommy. Yeah,
little Tommy Rodriguez Jr. And
yeah.
he is here from Somalia. And
Oh,
well, it
I
wouldn't be a
had the.
Rodriguez, but yeah, he's here from Somalia, and he's in daycare.
Uh-huh.
And so we need that monthly income.
Well, I have the ad here. I want to read you, if I can, the ad that was on. This is a now, mind you, it could be you can put anything on Craigslist. So this could have been somebody who.
Could have, yeah. Well, that's
yeah.
what they'll say. Oh, it was a fake ad.
I'm not going to read you the whole ad, but the real, the meat of it says, to help hurry the state vetting processes, we're looking to hire 20 child actors for 3 days while state is present on site. We pay up to $1,500 per actor per day. If you are interested, please send your child's age and a note of what makes your child a special actor. Submit phone number as well, as we will be doing a quick phone interview as part of the hiring process.
Well, number one, that it could be a real ad. If it is, that's stupid. It's likely, I would say, a fake ad. And if that is a fake ad, it's a dumb ad.
Hey, for $1,500 a day, I was getting ready to put a diaper on and suck my thumb.
Yeah, but careful on that one. The other thing that it could be a ploy to sit there and sucker in some people with those kids that are Somali, to with the lure of money, and thinking they're doing something good. And it could be a cattle call.
It could be a honey trap.
Yeah, it could be a honey trap for either federal players or people out there that are just evil in intent. And I'm not saying on the good side of the fence, there's all good players too. This what happened in Minnesota by the Somalis has now turned into a living, breathing, walking nightmare all the way around. And you're gonna see the worst of people on both sides.
Well, I still can see in my mind those YouTube videos of Somalians laughing in our face.
Yeah, you keep going out there and paying your taxes and working, and you learn our ways, or you get out of here.
Yeah. Why they would ever do that is beyond me. Why they would go on YouTube and literally thumb their noses at us like, hey, yeah, we're getting your money and you better like it.
Well, I'm sure you've noticed this, and Bill, that's paranoia. But if you go out up in Massachusetts, you go up there and you have a big ethnic population that's moved in. Well, this because we're a multicultural society. But, you walk into a store and you're walking down the aisle to, get a can of green beans. And all of a sudden, the people around you, their language changes. And I'm not paying attention until I notice that the volume goes up and the foreign language goes up. And I'm going, why are you doing that? I wasn't paying attention to you until now. And I'm just going to grab my green beans and get the hell out of here. Because there used to
be a time when immigrants came to our country and embraced our language, our culture. They wanted to be American, but this is a different time. Now they come to our country and they want to continue to be whatever they are, and you damn well better like it. And in the meantime, they expect to get stuff from you and me.
Yeah, and you know what? Look, you have a budget, Jim. I have a budget. And we pay our taxes and we do whatever we can for goodwill. But right now, the charitable need is me and my survival.
Oh, you know what gets me? I'm older. I get a Social Security check. Immigrants get more money than I get on my Social Security check.
Oh, absolutely.
Twice as much. Twice as much.
Well, they need more. And Jim, you've got this one thing going against you. I hate to say this.
What is that, Bill?
You're white.
Oh, well. As if he can do something about it, right? As if he can say, you can.
Yeah. What do you expect me to do?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to go back and Yeah.
You know,
Sorry,
I
my
forgot.
mom's no longer here. I can't go crawl back in the womb and say, you know what? Can I be reborn as this?
I think that there's talk now. Oh, by the way, Tim Walz said, "I'm not going to run for re-election. I'm done."
Oh, big deal. And now he's saying, well, what's a crime, and we got to get all this. Timmy, you're at the top of that food chain.
He's still blaming Trump for picking on him. Picking on a segment of society. No, we're picking on crooks and criminals.
Yeah. If they ever do the story of his life, I think Cheech and Chong should play him, because it's that same face, same hair, same look. It's just
when I think of Tim Walz, all I see is him at the Democratic National Convention being introduced and coming out on the stage and essentially coming out, like Michael Jackson. I thought he was going to break into song. He's pointing to the people in the crowd like, "Hey, how you doing? Good to see you here." And I say, "Oh my God."
That was an ego walking out there on the stage.
Big time.
He thought, because they were believing their own propaganda. Remember when they had the flight? Look at all these people that showed up for Kamala. And you blow up the photo of the jet, and it had the
special effects,
the shiny still counting on it. Yeah, and there was no reflection of the crowd, which means
there was nobody there.
It was fake. There was not a damn person on the tarmac, but a staged.
By the way, folks, believe nothing you see on the internet anymore, really, because they can do the damnedest things. They can,
and they do the damnedest things.
You can say, "I want to see Elon Musk dancing with a Somali refugee," and the thing will generate it, and it'll look like Elon, and it'll look like he's dancing with a Somali refugee. It never happened. But it's so easy to fake it nowadays that you look at a picture and you think, "Oh, I don't even know if this is true." I've seen pictures of Trump that look like Trump, and it's not.
Hey, don't forget to like and share the show, by the way. I know we don't say it very often, so I thought I'd throw it in again.
And also, if you want to contact us, mail at jimandbill.com.
Wake up on the right side with Right Side Coffee.
Available at rightsideshop.com.
So what else is going on in
you see down in we didn't even mention this, in Venezuela right now, apparently there's fighting in the streets. There's the factions.
Gunfire.
The factions within the Maduro group are fighting against each other. They're trying to take over the power. They're not happy with Delcy Rodriguez being left in office. They figure now's the time to jump in.
But the question that I would have is, okay, so they overthrow her, and is it just another corrupt power that's going to take over?
Well, do you think Trump has already said, we're going to run the country. We're not going to allow the country to fall into anarchy. So is it inevitable that we're going to go back in there at some point with troops?
Well, and maybe what we do is, there's going to be bloodshed, so let them fight amongst themselves, and then we go in and sweep up, clean up, and that's sad. But, it shows you the amount of corruption and things that are there. But you're going to see photos then that are going to, appeal to the bleeding heart. Sometimes you have to put your bleeding heart aside. And just keep in mind that sometimes you have to endure a little hurt to get to.
Stephen Miller was on CNN with Jake Tapper, and they were talking about, Tapper hates Trump and the administration, never wants to give Trump any credit. And Miller is the wrong guy to get into an argument with. Listen.
First of all of Venezuela experts agree, that it would be absurd and preposterous for us to suddenly fly her into the country and to put her in charge. And the military would follow her, and the security forces would follow her. This is not a serious. It's not even a serious question.
So should there be an election?
If you give me the floor for 30 seconds, let me tell you what we are doing here, Jake. The United States, this is sort of foundational. The United States is using its military to secure our interests unapologetically in our hemisphere. We're a superpower, and under President Trump, we are going to conduct ourselves as a superpower. It is absurd that we would allow a nation in our own backyard to become the supplier of resources to our adversaries, but not to us, to hoard weapons from our adversaries, to be able to be positioned as an asset against the United States rather than on behalf of the United States.
Sovereign countries shouldn't be able to do what they want to do.
The Monroe Doctrine and the Trump Doctrine is all about securing the national interests of America. For years, we sent our soldiers to die in deserts in the Middle East to try to build them parliaments, to try to build them democracies, to try to give them more oil, to try to give them more resources. The future of the free world, Jake, depends on America being able to assert ourselves and our interests without apology. This whole period that happened after World War II, where the West began apologizing and groveling and begging
I don't even
and
know
engaging these
honestly
vast
what you're talking about right now.
What I'm talking about, Jake, is the idea. And by the way, I know you love doing that smarmy thing, Jake, and I was hoping to be better than that this time.
I asked you about if there should be an election.
Exactly.
I asked you if there would be an election in Venezuela. That's what I asked. I said, why was the president so quick to dismiss Machado? You answered that question. And then I said,
the objective, Jake, is security and stability for the people of Venezuela. With our help and leadership, that country will become more prosperous than it has ever been in its whole history. Venezuelans,
but the woman running Venezuela right now is part of the Maduro regime.
There will be conversations, Jake, about all of these guideposts along the way. The reason why I was giving you that speech, which I know you didn't want to hear, is because you're approaching this from the wrong frame. This neoliberal frame that the United States' job is to go around the world and demanding immediate elections be held everywhere, immediately, all the time, right away. To create these vacuums.
That's not what I think, but you invaded the country. We went into the country and we seized the leader of Venezuela.
Damn straight we did.
And I'm saying,
we're not going to let.
So is the U.S. going to have new elections?
Jake, is that we're not going to let Tim Pot communist dictators send rapists into our country, send drugs into our country, send weapons into our country.
Okay.
And we're not going to let a country fall into the hands of our adversaries. The future of Venezuela, working with America, is going to be so bright and so incredible and so positive, and we'll have a conversation about everything that you raised. But the priority right now, as the president has made clear, is a judicious, thoughtful, careful transition process to secure a great future for Venezuela and to secure a great future for America. Right. Let's just take a moment and just acknowledge, Jake, that what we've witnessed under President Trump's leadership this last week is one of the greatest foreign policy and military victories this country has ever had.
If we had stayed in Venezuela, it would have gotten messy. More people would have died. A lot of people have a lot of questions. I did too. I mean, I thought, why are we leaving Delcy Rodriguez in? I'll be honest with you, I never heard of her until she was left in place. Come to find out, she was a big Chavez person too. But I think what's happened is they've said to her, we'll leave you in that seat. But if you start to screw around, which, by the way, there are reports coming out that she kind of did yesterday. She was making saber rattling. What happens is our troops leave the country and they start to forget about the bombing, and all of a sudden they get their, they start to feel powerful again.
Well, if you stomp around the hole, the other snake doesn't come out. So sometimes you gotta pull back a little bit and see how things pan out. So she's got a chance, but she's probably a snake.
Well, and by the way, offshore, we're still there. We haven't gone away. We're still there. So maybe that's what's happening. Maybe they're letting it shake out a bit. See who comes out of their hole. Who tries to take the country. Maybe the fact that there was fighting and there are factions fighting against each other is a good thing, because now the observers in the country will say, okay, this guy actually is not on our side. He's trying to take the power. He thinks it's an opportunity for him to seize power, and he's more of a problem. And maybe they didn't know that unless they stuck their head out, so who knows? John Fetterman he continues to be the voice of reason. Listen.
I don't know why we can't just acknowledge that it's been a good thing what's happened. I mean, I've seen the speeches from whether it's Leader Schumer or kinds of past tweets from President Biden. You know, we all wanted this man gone, and now he is gone. I think we should really appreciate exactly what happened here. Now, remember, we all Democrats years ago wanted to eliminate him, and why have a bounty of $25 million if we didn't want him gone? Why would you do these things if you weren't willing to actually do something other than harsh language? Let's remember, 8 million Venezuelan were displaced and mass chaos, and now they were shipping drugs to our nation as well, too. So for me, it's like, why, as a Democrat, we can't just acknowledge that it was successful?
And the other thing is, please don't forget that thousands, if not tens of thousands of people died under Maduro's regime. And,
absolutely.
And everybody in our country who died of fentanyl overdosing, it goes back to him directly, his country, his labs.
You know what? Doesn't Biden have a son that's an addict to cocaine?
Yeah,
and where does
he
that
does.
come from? Yeah, so wouldn't he, be on the side of Trump on this? We got to stop this illegal flow. I've got a son that's got a real serious problem.
Yeah, Bill, but then it goes back to that list that I read a little while ago.
I know.
Money.
Well, then that means that Biden has no heart, no soul. And you know what? He is just as corrupt, and maybe
Bill,
if
you cared about your family and your kid, would you make him the point man on a money scheme with China? He did.
He did. It means he's got no heart, no soul, no scruples. And you know what? We never did find out who that cocaine belonged to in the White House during his administration. For all I know.
I understand they want it back, though.
Yeah, it could have been Biden's, little toot here, woo, and I'm sure they got the good stuff,
You think?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they, probably wasn't cut with baby powder or whatever it is they cut it with,
I never understood why, though, they would plant it. They left it in, like, the lobby. They left it in, like, what do they call it? Like a mail slot in the lobby? Why would you leave your cocaine
there's
in an obvious place?
Only three reasons. Number one, the obvious reason would be that it was a stupid thing, they set it down, forgot about it. Number two, it was for someone to pick up. Hey, it'll be over there.
Yeah, right.
And number three, it was just a distraction. Well, no one will ever know, and they'll focus on that while we do this.
And to this day, it's one of the many things that we will never get an answer to because there's so much in this government, in every government, that is hidden from us. We still don't know much about Thomas Matthew Crooks. Now some people say, who the hell is Thomas Matthew Crooks? He's the guy who shot Trump and Butler.
You haven't read the news?
What?
That was all staged. Trump never really got shot. It was a good acting job.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a publicity stunt.
I mean, how much do we know about everything? I mean, we don't know anything about Charlie Kirk's assassination? Nothing.
That was a publicity stunt too. Come on, the rhetoric, the things that have been said about Trump and all the hate and everything out there, all the lawsuits that have ever been brought, and there are a ton of them. Laws changed, the statute of limitations changed and then changed back. They've said all these negative things he's done, all these negative deals, but yet not one thing
Can you tell me
has
the name?
ever been proven true or come true, has it?
And I'll admit up front that I forgot the guy's name. But can you tell me the name of the guy who tried to kill Trump on the golf course down in Florida?
No, I forget his name. Isn't that? No, he committed suicide.
No. This guy, he's alive and in custody. We know nothing about that.
So what's going on? Why is it taking so long? Wasn't that over a year ago?
No. It's still happening, but it's like it's like in traffic court now. What the hell is going on with we are? I go back to the mushroom analogy. They Yeah, mushrooms
life
are
under the
made.
mushroom.
They keep you in the dark and they cover you with BS. And that's how they make the grow mushrooms, and that's how they keep us. They keep us in the dark and they smother us with BS.
Well, they'll let the guy sit there because I think he was an operative, to be honest with you. They'll let him sit there. He won't get a trial. And if they, let's say they take the House this year, then there will be some kind of favorable ruling to let that guy go. And the Democratic Congress will go for it because, and that should tell you.
Well, look at this kid. This kid, the one assassin who we saw actually the guy shoot the executive was it Mangini or Mangino or whatever that
Mangione?
Mangione, yeah, Mangione. And what's the big deal about him? People made a big deal about him because he looked like a friggin' movie star, and all of a sudden the women were sending him their underwear. They were asking him to go on dates. Fan clubs were forming. This is a guy who stalked an individual who waited outside the hotel for him to go for his morning walk, who allowed the guy to turn his back and start up the street so he was back to him. He couldn't even face him. And then he proceeded to shoot him in the back like the coward that he was. And then he ran away and got caught. And all of a sudden, in our society, and by the way, it's mostly the left. It's mostly the loons on the left.
He's the victim.
Oh, he's the victim. Oh, I just think he's so great. The guy's a killer, a cold-blooded, ruthless killer.
Look, I know the pharmaceutical industry is corrupt and crooked. We've all known that. Yeah, and I also know the insurance industry is corrupt and crooked. But, you got to look at them like odds makers in Vegas. They're betting on your health or betting against your health. And that's what your insurance is. It's not what you really think it is. And insurance was invented by hospitals.
And most of the time, they make money.
Yeah, they always do.
Yeah.
The original reason for insurance was, I think it was during the Depression. They're going, nobody's coming in to get anything done. Well, you know what? We're going to offer this thing here for pennies on the dollar, and it offers you a free checkup. And so it sounded like a good deal. I mean, it was just a pocket change, literally pocket change, like $1, $2, or $5. And you would get a free healthcare checkup and some basic stuff. Well, what that did was get you into the hospital where they could look under the hood, and they got you in there where they, hey, yeah, glad you got in here for this checkup. Well, what's the charge for that? No, there's nothing. But you have this and this and this and this. And we'll give you a discount on it, but you got to get it done or you ain't going to be here a year from now. Okay. And insurance was born. It was a bait and switch to get you at a time when people were holding their money close and tight.
Well,
and it developed into an industry.
That guy who was killed by Mangini or Mangione. Yeah, Mangione.
Think of Chuck Mangione.
Yeah.
Feels so good. Yeah.
That guy was the CEO of United Healthcare, I believe. And, he was a young man with a family, and he had been very successful. And he did not deserve to be gunned down by a swine like him.
No.
But and I think that anybody who is a fan of his had better check their soul because they got a problem. It's like rooting for the friggin' devil. What he did.
I agree with you. Look, you got a lot of bad players going on.
You see where Pete Hegseth has cut off Mark Kelly's military retirement pay, and he's urging service members to for Kelly urging service members to defy Trump's orders. And that's not all. He's trying to get him downgraded in rank. He was a captain in the Navy, which is like a colonel in the Army, and he wants him to be demoted for what he did, which I think would be hey, look he could have been arrested for treason.
Yeah, he could have been. I mean, he's he's losing something, but not everything.
Right.
And the best thing to do is, if I were Kelly, I would just shut up, step back, and that's that. And whatever happens, happens, and move forward. But
he's not. He's
not
he said he's going to fight it. These guys, yeah, you go ahead and fight it. Also, did you hear about the guy who took a hammer and started breaking windows at J.D. Vance's Ohio home?
Yeah, I did hear about that. I don't have all the details on it, but I did hear that he was doing that.
A 26-year-old named William DeFore allegedly tried to break into Vice President J.D. Vance's home, used a hammer, and they got him, so he's under arrest. At first I heard 23. He looks about 12 in the picture. They always send out a picture that makes you look like you're a kid, but he's 26 years old, folks. He's no kid, and he knew what he was doing. So what the first thing they want to do? He needs to get a psychological evaluation. Make sure he's not nuts. Look, at anybody who breaks the vice president's windows at his house is nuts anyway. Yeah, that's a fait accompli. That goes without saying. But he still deserves to be tried. I'm just saying. And, what if the vice president was in that house only a few hours before? What if the vice president were there when he did this?
Well, we'd be talking about a whole different thing right now.
Yep.
Well, you know what today is? It's the 5th anniversary of January 6th. So, all of that, they're gonna go back, resurrect it, relive it, and try to undo everything that we've shown has been wrong and corrupt, because
all the news channels.
This is an election year, so they gotta revive it.
They'll be doing that for sure on MS Now, for sure.
Oh, it's probably See, now one of the things I don't like about the news is that you get up in the morning at 6 a.m. and they do 20 minutes of news, and hey, that's it. We've got it all covered. We're
and
done.
They just recycle it over
and it plays back
to
back, over and over and over again. And news just
it makes you want to watch a movie on Netflix or something, doesn't it?
I did that last night because I was going, this is just ridiculous. I turn it off during the day. It's just stupid to pay attention to the news. I watched a movie last night that I know you've watched, and that was House of Dynamite. Interesting movie. I don't think that there's going to be a nuclear war. The odds of it are very statistically low because of the deterrence of it, but it was an interesting
I worry
proposition.
more about the rogue nuclear bomb. I worry about the dirty bombs.
The dirty bombs or the one rogue missile. And just like the movie depicted, we didn't know what to do. There's an inbound. Okay.
Who fired it? Well, we're not sure.
Well, we don't know. No one's taking credit. Of course, they're not taking credit. We would have a launch point. And, we fire up 2 interceptors. One didn't make it. The
only thing I don't understand, I'm under the impression that we are monitoring via satellite everything that's happening on our planet, and it's also being recorded. So you would think that there's no way you could hide where that came from. Now, in a movie, they got to make it sound like they defeated that.
Oh, it's dramatic. Yeah, look, number one, I would scramble jets. Number two, if the interceptors didn't make it, there'd probably be a suicide jet. They'd say, well, it's like trying to hit a bullet with a bullet. No, we have satellites. This was back from the 60s because they bragged about it and they showed it, the evidence of it. We had satellites with the technology then. A person could be reading a newspaper on a, let's pick a city, Butler, where Trump was shot, on a park bench in Butler, and they could focus on the headlines of that paper
read it
from space. And then you sit there and go, they can do that? Oh, well, we could focus on a dime on the sidewalk there and tell you where it was minted and
what
give
year.
you the date.
Yeah.
And they can do that. So you're telling me we can't hit one rogue? So the movie was just to sit there, and it does make you think that we had in the movie, there was a lot of faux pas. I'm like going, well, we should always be ready because something like that happen.
That's true.
But I'm not into a review. Do a
yeah,
review
but
of the movie.
by the way, it is a good movie. I agree. The ending is a little. It kind of leaves you a little bit up in the air. You have to kind of.
What was the movie back in '84 during Reagan's term where they actually blew the hell out of the planet? We went to war, and they wanted to show you what it would be like.
I've actually forgotten.
The Day After.
Okay.
Yeah. If you've never seen that movie, watch it. Even though it's old and it's got some old actors in it. It took place in the '80s when they filmed it. It was pretty inaccurate as how it would all begin and how it would all end. It was kind of scary.
You see what happened in Arizona yesterday? They found a explosive device at the Arizona Supreme Court.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, they evacuated the building, but it was an explosive device. They don't tell you about these things. A lot of the mainstream
I'm
news.
looking at my news right here, and I don't see it. So
yeah. What else happened in the news? Dan Bongino, I guess he's going to do his radio show again. He
announced he made some final statements.
Yeah,
I guess it's just the plans to do the show. He didn't say anything about the FBI or anything, I don't think.
No, he had complimentary things to say about the FBI. He was honored and stuff like that. And then he told, I guess he's getting a lot of people on on X and stuff who are bad mouthing him and stuff. And he says, "I have no use for you. You're being summarily dismissed. What do they call it? Removed." And I don't blame him.
You know what? He took a position that he came from what background? CIA, and he
Secret Service.
Secret Service. So he went over into a field where he might not. Every one of those branches is uniquely different, and because I know, I know somebody close that spent years in the CIA and now in the DOD, and each branch is got its own set of rules and marching orders and procedures, and
they're just the only thing that bothered me about what Dan did. Is when they were talking about what was it, Butler and Thomas Matthew Crooks, they kind of summarily dismissed it like there's no there, or maybe it was the Charlie Kirk assassination, but
a little bit of both actually, and I think it's because
a lot of people have a lot of questions about both of those shootings that have never been answered, but yet he kind of dismissed it like nothing to see here.
Perhaps there is a there, but he's not allowed to say anything. And at that point in time, if you want to keep your life, your health, your job, there is no there. So that's where you have to, because if you looked at it linguistically or just in physical appearance, he was very, he was very stoic the way he did it, stone-faced. There's no there, which meant there was an answer that was caged, and it's
we talked about, by the way, in Minneapolis about the ad that they're looking for child actors. What they don't have to look for though are federal agents, because Trump is sending 2,000 federal agents to Minneapolis to investigate that fraud. 2,000 agents. Good luck, Minneapolis.
If you were guilty of that fraud, as soon as it got called, would you have started sweeping away any evidence?
No, I would have just bought an airline ticket back to Somalia with all my money. Because they got the money.
That's the other thing, but they don't want to leave. They have a reason and a belief that they are here, it's theirs, and they're here
protected.
To stay. And they're protected. Well, they are. They actually
are.
I
mean, one of your protectors said he wasn't going to run for office again yesterday. So, Walt.
But he's got all the rights and privileges, with the due process and everything. So, and
what I'm saying is that if Waltz was shielding the Somalian criminals from justice, and all of a sudden he's going to leave his office, I'm just saying.
You know why? He's got to shield himself.
Right.
So he doesn't have much of a choice, but he might be doing this now going, well, you know what? I got to do this now, but the political fires may blow in a different direction because the American public can be swayed, or the votes can be manipulated because, there's a lot of talk now. Don't we want drop boxes? Don't you want mail-in ballots? That's going on.
God.
That's going on everywhere.
Do you think, Bill, that another shoe is going to drop soon? I got a feeling that this is like I said earlier, the Venezuelan thing was just the beginning. I think you're going to see some incredible things happen. We've always talked about how the criminals should face justice. Maybe it's about to happen in this country. Maybe some people.
Hope, but you don't know.
Why? Maybe that's why they're refurbishing the courtroom at Guantanamo. Maybe they're getting it ready for all the cases that they're going to have down there.
Well, it might be. That is something.
You know what they call that place, by the way? You know what they call that courtroom?
I don't know. What?
Camp Justice.
Oh,
I love it. I like it. Anyway, I'm done. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm not 100% today.
I noticed. I'm sorry, but I was able to put up with you.
Come, give you such a shot. Hey, look, have a great day today. You're doing some driving today, so be aware of the weather up where you are.
Driving my life away. Well, the weather's got to be aware of me, because
that's true. That's true. Bill's driving.
Get out of his way because
that wild man is on the road. Yes,
the wild man is on the road. That's what it is. So cops, get out of the way. I'm coming home.
Yeah, I'm done, friends. You can take us out of here if you want.
All right. Well, you know what? Be safe. We'll be back tomorrow. Do remember to like and share the show. And after that, I'm taking a sip of coffee after I do this. Hasta la vista, baby. We are out of here.
Who are we? And why are we here? Will we be welcome or possibly feared? Do we unite and stand tall as a nation of one? Or split and divide, or be mocked and shunned? Are our leaders patriotic, honest and true? Do they share our beliefs? Are they red, white, and blue? The truth is out there, you just have to search. Settle for less, you'll be left in the lurch. No left-leaning lies, no socialist will. It's straight talking truth from your friends Jim and Bill. Are our leaders patriotic, honest and true? Do they share our belief? Are they Side with Right Side Coffee.
Available at rightsideshop.com. All music the property of Jim and Bill. All rights reserved.
This is CRN America.